Good evening, everyone. We have a short news cycle this evening, as actually my co-host is presenting tonight for his company. This is going to be fun. But we do have Varda signed a deal with a major pharmaceutical company to develop drugs in space. So it's officially on. The FCC just pissed off every smaller telephone carrier by helping Starlink and AT&T buy EchoStar spectrum for like billions. A company called Starcatcher just closed a $65 million deal to put the first power grid in orbit using lasers. Google and SpaceX are in talks for collaboration on orbiting data centers, and the first Block 3 Starship launch could come as early as next week. From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. And of course, our program is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. What do? What we always do. We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor-ready. Now, a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is supported by our listeners and fans like you. So just go to cscf.space/support and click that Plain as Day donate button. A little in the tip jar each month makes a big difference. Thanks so much in advance. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, tell your friends. Now, normally, speaking of friends, I would bring on Michael Laine, but Michael Laine is going to be presenting later. And so our short news cycle, our producer, Sean Key, is coming in to lend a hand with the news. Sean.
How you doing, folks?
Hey,
How
man.
You doing, Tom?
Don't get to see you on screen much. How you doing?
I know it. My light is going crazy, so that's the reason why I look like I got some sort of funky rainforest disease.
Yeah. Well, you're back in the 70s disco there. There you go. Now we got something. Oh yeah.
It's going crazy. It will not fix itself. Oh well.
Okay.
That's close. That's close enough right there.
All right. I guess we'll just start in. I mean, here's an interesting. This would be the thing on Ars Technica today. This could be the moment that drug manufacturing takes off in orbit, and they're plugging it as a historical moment for the space industry. I guess NASA's been able to study the impact of microgravity on drug development for decades, starting with the shuttle way back when. This work accelerated in the 2010s. With completion of ISS and full-time crew devoted to that research. But I know there's been some successes during that time frame. The cancer drug called Keytruda started crystallizing that in 2019, and that opened up the possibility of doing all sorts of other things.
Right.
NASA subsidized a lot of that work.
Yep.
And now Varda has come in.
Yeah, and it looks like it's being subsidized a little bit from private company. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up right now. There we go.
Okay.
So readers can see it. There it is. Sorry about that. I'm trying to do two things at once here. I'm trying to look pretty on screen and do this, and I'm failing at both. So yeah, behind the scenes, I'm a fan of Varda.
Yep.
And so does Tom. Michael. But and for me, it's the down mass. I'm really a big component about down mass. I think it's one of the things that makes the economy, a commercial space economy, more complete. And I do like the idea of it developing. It's just that I don't know how fast that's going to be compared to what they're playing and saying.
Yeah, you're right. They're not really talking much about the time frames for this, just that they, after launching their first vehicles, They have these capsules, have autonomous bioreactors that spend a few weeks to a month in microgravity, and then they process pharmaceuticals in the absence of gravity. Well, they signed a deal with United Therapeutics
Yeah.
to actually, do some formal stuff in orbit, and it's all essentially it's the first time a large publicly traded company is actually using their own money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably the biggest news piece out of it.
Yep.
It's just private companies using their own money to contract with them.
And that's going to open up the world to a lot of things. I mean, this thing, not just drugs in space, but all sorts of other manufactured type.
Well, you got material science, you got chips, computer chips.
Yep.
Just those two off the top of my head. There's a couple other things,
but
mainly those are the ones that are going to start. I like to see this accelerate, but I don't know. In 5 years' time, we should see something really solid, steadily going up, coming down.
Yeah,
and then hopefully they'll scale from there.
Absolutely. I remember when I was a kid, though, I used to hear the story. He says, yes, someday we'll be able to make perfect ball bearings in space. And technically, I guess, you could, but I have yet to see someone put a smelter in orbit that could make the steel necessary to extrude them one at a time with perfect precision, and have them.
It will probably be someday, but not our day.
Right. Like fusion. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
This is 25 years away. We're 25 years away. That's all it is.
That's it. Always has been, always will be. Absolutely. Okay. Here's the thing that gets me. I love this thing. It's another Ars Technica article. These guys have been great. FCC angers small carriers by helping AT&T and Starlink by EchoStar spectrum. I guess, and the approval was no surprise because in the subtitle there, the FCC chair actually pressured EchoStar to sell the licenses. And these deals are worth $40 billion.
Yeah, that's a government play and picking winners.
Yep.
That I don't really care for, but at the same time, it depends on which side of the aisle you're on. I mean, or not the aisle, but in business, are you the big guy or are you the little guy?
Yep.
And then the trade-off is, if you're the little guy, we're supporting the little guys as mom and pops. That's great. We take care of our local community. But the trade-off is, if you go with a big guy, economies of scale, you might be able to get a better deal with them than you could at a mom and pop. And as we all know, when push comes to shove, pocketbooks will speak.
Well, this is why we have at Avialto, wearing my Avialto hat for a minute, we have been working on getting those deals first, getting in there. The first people we talked to, like in Malaysia and in Indonesia, for example, have been the regulators. We didn't talk to the local service providers. We talked to the regulators first to make sure we're on track to get the spectrum that we want.
Right.
Ahead of time, because Musk hasn't discovered our market sector yet, and so so if we can nail it down before he finally the sleeping giant awakes and says, "Oh, Malaysia, I want Malaysia." Well, too late. Sorry.
That's funny because there's projects I've seen. I actually talked to people about other projects, and I see a point where an inflection point where they get, oh, that's going to be Musk is here in a couple of months. He's going to get an interest in that.
I know, but at this point, it's like, God, he just wants everything. He just wants everything. He's paying $60 billion for an AI company. He's he's buying all these other stuff. We're not even at these already. It's like he's already spending his IPO money before he gets it.
He's playing solar monopoly.
Yep. Absolutely. So FCC is not popular now, is basically the point of that article.
Yeah.
Now, a company I haven't really heard much about before is called Starcatcher. They just raised $65 million to build the world's first power grid in space with lasers. And they want to make it as easy to operate in space as it is to operate on the ground. So they have a bit of a war chest to bankroll their dream. They want to build a power grid in space. And actually, their Series A is $65 million, but they have actually oversubscribed it, so it's really 88. And so I'm trying to make it go. Okay. So basically, they need reliable methods of transport, communication, and power generation, and they're working on the third one. So at some point, the life cycle is power limited until, because we're only just making camping trips to space. So they're building the world's first power grid to eliminate the bottleneck, and now you have more options in doing that. So that's what their vision is. And so, but I'm trying to figure out how they do this. They're going to operate a network of power node spacecraft in Earth orbit where we'll harvest energy from the sun and then transmit it via lasers. So space-based solar power transmitted via lasers, but it does it out in orbit, not down to Earth, basically. And supposedly the client spacecraft don't need any modifications, just solar panels to catch the laser light. So I don't know what the efficiencies are in that.
Yeah.
You have to take the power you're getting from the sun, transfer it into laser, and then turn it back again.
I do like the move to. It's kind of making redundancies in this cislunar space, or right there out there in low Earth orbit.
Sure.
Because it's an infrastructure move, if you ask me. And that's the way I would play it, because I mean, you're really just charging up. You're like a gas station for satellites.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do like those plays. I like infrastructure plays more than anything else, because it tells me we're going to have a more permanent presence. Yeah,
it also provides a proof point for a lot of different things we've just been talking about for 25, 30 years. And they're finally getting built. I've long said, I've been kind of a skeptic of space-based solar power for Earth use, but I've often said that in the future, power sats will ring the globe. That globe will be the moon. That globe will be Mars, because that would be a real quick way to kind of kickstart a power grid when you're actually building a settlement on those places.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So we'll see how it works. They raised some good money, so let's see what they do with it.
Yeah, I think they have a good plan. I think that's a good idea.
They have a good plan. And so now the next one, second to last. So I guess Google and SpaceX are in talks to launch orbital data centers in space. I guess they want to collaborate on this. There's a lot of different things going on. A lot of plates are spinning up there. And of course, Google is talking to other rocket launch companies as well. And they want to launch prototype satellites by 2027 called Project Suncatcher. So I guess they're in talks to, Google's going to launch the hardware and Elon's going to provide, the Starship or something. And so I guess there'll be something in that for both of them going forward.
Yeah, well, the fact that Google invested in SpaceX, so some of $900 million, there might be like, hey, friends and family, dude, friends and family.
Right. Exactly right. Exactly right. And the only other thing I want to talk about is it's a very quick one. SpaceX finally set the target date for their Block 3 Starship launch, which is May 19th. Just 5 days away.
Yeah.
So next Tuesday is when the launch window opens up. And so they're launching from their Texas facility, Boca Chica Beach. It'd be nice to live near there. I could go watch it. It would be fun. But I have high hopes for Block 3, and I hope it's very successful. Unless we're going to see it happen on that day.
My thing about SpaceX, I do want them to do well, and I know they're going to do well, but I'm not interested in them. I'm more interested in everything else around them, how they're developing. That's to me is where the real how well we're going to do or not going to do exist. Elon's going to punch through till Elon can't punch through no more. He's going to do his own thing, but he's going to do it for Elon. He's going to do
Yep.
it for SpaceX.
That's true.
That's who he's going to benefit.
And that has been my.
There's going to be some residual,
Yep.
but really, can we? Is that fringe? How can the outside of SpaceX capitalize on it? Because that's really where the space economy is when you take him out.
Sure, absolutely. And it's always been my favorite theory that he pivoted to building a lunar city because he figured out how to make money off it right away.
Yeah,
and actually use that money to help fund his Mars dream, which will speed up his Mars timetable by as much as a decade.
he'll probably buy a basketball team and put them on the moon. Could you imagine slam dunks?
Yeah, well, away games are going to be trouble for them.
They're expensive.
They'd be expensive. But God, yeah, but you have on the moon, you have to put the basket 60 feet high. Make you work for it, that slam dunk.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, I do wish him the best, and I think he's doing a great thing for us, showing everybody else that it can be done. But he does it for SpaceX.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely.
And last year when I broke down the numbers, and you take his launch, you take just the SpaceX launches out, we're behind China. I mean, when you put his numbers in, we're ahead of everybody by a long shot, but we're really behind, and that's partly due to Starlink.
Yep.
And then I seen a graph the other day where Starlink has 15,000 satellites. Well, they're about the size of a table.
Yeah.
Tabletop. Most other satellites are, the traditional big size. You do have the CubeSats and the small ones, but how many CubeSats can go up? How many cube ones like Joe Luttrell's can go up? It's the space that you're sending up in that tube is what matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mass that matters. So he's got 10,000 satellites, 15,000 satellites. That equates to 3 or 4, and how many, 4 or 5. I don't know the numbers. I think I did it the other day. But the truth is, in the space industry, it's getting mass into space, and that's the most important part. What we do there is the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we did have a guest on a couple of weeks ago, Dan Garrettson was pointing that out.
Yep.
Much of what that 600 billion everybody quotes is the space economy. About 400 of it is the space enabler, the actual space-based part, the rockets, and then the stuff that really does the space lifting and the space economy is around 200 billion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Those numbers, I know I'm getting long on the numbers, but it's one of my favorite parts because this is about the center of commerce and finance, and It's my favorite subject. I like talking about money, and I like talking about space.
Absolutely. That's what we do here. I just want to mention one thing before we move on. Dallas Beanhoff's here. Hi, Dallas. Welcome. You mentioned that Starcatcher may allow customers to reduce their battery mass as they fly through Earth's shadow, which is an interesting thing to think about. I'd be curious how long that would take for the CubeSat manufacturers to retool for that.
Well, I know somebody you might be able to ask who has an idea.
Okay.
We can see what our friend Joe Luttrell says.
Yeah, it's true. He'll be coming up soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can ask him when he comes on.
Okay. Well, this is what's going on now, folks. This is going to be, like I said, this is the key part of the evening tonight. We have a very special program. My regular co-host, Michael Laine, is also raising a lot of needed capital for his LiftPort Lunar Elevator Initiative. And he's coming on tonight. He's actually going to make, he agreed to do this. He's kind of scared about it, but he's going to do his pitch, his money pitch, like we would do it at a pitch event at a Silicon Valley, investor company or wherever you want to do your pitch at. And he's coming on to actually do that presentation for all of us, slides and everything, in real life and in real time, and his actual funding pitch. Now, I'm going to be watching it. We also have another special guest that's going to be watching it with me, someone named Joe Luttrell from Cube Inc. And afterwards, we're going to listen to the whole pitch, make notes, and afterward, we're going to start asking the hard questions that a potential investor in the room might ask. Interestingly, this started because I offered to do this privately in kind of offline discussions. But after we talked about it a little bit, we thought, wouldn't this be a great show? A live exercise to share how things work in the real world. And actually, it's a bit risky for both of us, but we think it's worth it. So without further ado, Michael, come on in, man.
Hey, hi.
Hey.
I was laughing the whole time you were doing that preamble. You're like, it's a little risky for both of us. It was going to be a private thing. Oh my God, gentlemen, how I wish it was a private thing. I'm not doing it online.
Well, you're here now, man.
Here's what we got, right? Here's what we got. So a little preamble. People have been asking me for a pitch deck for Jesus. It might be a year. It might be a year. And I've been very reluctant to do this because it kind of locks you into something, right? And so today I'm like, okay, I got up 6:45, started working on it at 7:00. Like I was in it. And then about 3.5 hours of the day just got sucked up by a client. It was good news, so I'm happy about that, and sure. I think it's new revenue, so I'm happy about that. Hey, y'all, hi Veronica, hi Wes.
It was good.
Yeah, no, it's good. We'll talk about it after the show, but it's a new client that I've been trying to get for a while now, right? Yep. So instead of working on my pitch, instead of working on the deck, I spent time working on real money. So I definitely want to do this. I also don't feel at all prepared to do it. So
this often happens in Silicon Valley. Someone will give you a call and say, I can get you a meetup with so-and-so at in Sand Hill Road in an hour. Can you come down here now?
Yeah.
And you got 10 minutes.
I think it's
worth going to do it, ready or not, right?
I'm going to do it. Ready or not. But I think it's actually useful to tell y'all how today transpired and what I was able to do and what I was not able to do. And I think it's worth, one, I think it's educational, and two, it's worth a laugh. We depend pretty heavily on AI. Like our team is pretty small. There's 4 of us, about to be 5 of us, and we can do a lot. We depend on the AIs to help kind of lever us. And so I'm like, I got this. I've got all the stuff. I've got all the content. I've got all the stuff. Yeah. And then when I put these slides up, you're just going to laugh because these are robot generated slides. And these are the best robot generated slides. I had a whole nother set that's way worse than this. So this is the best set. So that's one thing. I'm like, okay. I was actually trying to conform to your rules, Tom. Like 7 minutes, hard stop. Because that's what you do when you've got a competition running and you've got 5 companies or 7 companies on stage, and you're like, all right, we got to turn.
The thing is, that's not a hard and fast number, because in previous business plan competitions, we've done 23 of them now or something, and they range from 7 minutes, a tight 7 minutes, to almost up to 10. Yeah. It depends on the number of people presenting and the stage time we get. And so it varies with every event that we do. So I'm not going to time you at 7. Sean might, just to be a dick. Okay. But but if you stretch it to 10, I'm not timing you. I'm not. All right. Stay in your comfort zone, because I want you to get done. I don't want you to get at 7 minutes and you've got 3 slides left and you fucked up. I'm not getting the hook. I want to see the whole damn thing.
Okay. I did. Well, I left it at 7 slides, which was way harder for me because y'all know I like to talk.
Yes, I do. I know that very well.
Yep. So there's that. let's just go ahead and get into it. That's kind of enough preamble.
Well, before we start, we get into it, I'm going to bring Joe Luttrell on.
Yep.
I'm going to recuse myself because I'm kind of close to the project.
Right.
And so I'm going to bring Joe on. He's going to be the other critique. And I'm going to step away so the screen's not crowded, so you have plenty of room.
Sure.
So
I'm sure you're gonna be your usual self and make lots of snarky commentary in the
you darn right I am.
Yeah.
If the audience could see what I type up half the time.
We only share that occasionally when it's good, clean fun. But
when your faces turn red, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, I'm gonna bring you on in, bud.
Okay.
There
he is.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Let me take a second to get prepped here.
All right, so you go ahead and get yourself ready, and everybody's set. I'm gonna go ahead and step away, folks. I'll come back at the very end. We can do a round table for the final few minutes.
Absolutely. Okay. Thanks for your help tonight on the news.
Thank you.
No problem. I wish I could have done a little bit better, but the news kind of sucked.
It did. It's kind of bland today. And the other stuff that I normally would have had for a normal show, it wasn't that much. It wasn't any better. Right. So that was the best of the bad.
All right, guys. I'll see you at the wrap up.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get started here. I'm leaving off things like, administrative stuff, like, we're LiftPort group and our contact.
I don't care about that. What you need to do right now physically is share your screen.
I thought I was.
And so you can do, because there should be three of us off to the left in nice square boxes, and then a big screen opened up with your deck in it.
All right. That's one part. Does that work?
Okay, that's much better. Okay.
But I do not have my notes. All right. You guys can see that? Everything's good?
Yeah, we can see that. Everybody else can see it. The whole world can see it. The whole world is watching. No pressure, Michael.
All right. I don't know why I'm so nervous with you.
I don't know.
One thing that is useful is that this is the beginning of kind of a new segment for the show, right? That we're going to start doing this for our audience if our audience has pitches they want to do, right? A lot of the folks in our community are trying to raise capital, and given that you've run so many business plan competitions, hundreds of thousands of dollars of prizes, no prizes on this show right now, but $400,000 worth of prizes for running these competitions. I think that's how this whole thing started. So I'm the first guinea pig for this, and despite me being beside you during many of those business plan competitions, you've only been a judge for me one time.
Yeah.
Way back, maybe it was 2010 or so, 9 maybe. It was it was the year the guy with the glove won. Anyway, he had a great glove. And
Yes.
But I've never pitched in front of you. So that's another thing that kind of makes me really worried. Like, I gave a pitch last week, 2 weeks ago. There were 14 of us up on stage. We only had 3 minutes. I thought I kind of killed it. And I got third place. Again, no money, but it was still like training wheels for me. So I do feel a lot more pressure with you than I did 2 weeks ago when it was a room of mostly strangers. So I feel like that's worth pointing out when we start this. So I'm done with my
AI told us. As your AI told us, I've got, I'm under pressure too a little bit. I like you. I am supportive of what you do, but I cannot just ask softball questions. I have to really, I have to hit you.
No, you have to, and I
opening,
want you to
take it.
Right.
Yeah.
This is training wheels for me. I need to learn this skill. I don't actually have this skill. So, all right.
Okay.
I'm going to start.
Okay.
And I'm starting the clock.
Yep, I am too.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I'm Michael Laine. I'm the president of LiftPort Group. And I want you to think about this. 873 days from now, that's October 4th, 2028. And that is the system that our lunar elevator goes online. That's the date for our first commercial cargo, 873 days from now. And that date is not just aspirational. We treat it like a deadline. Most people always want to talk about our engineering because they're fascinated by it. The word I heard the other day was dazzled by it. That's not what this is about. The engineering is important. The elevator is our engineering. But at the end of the day, it's the logistics hubs that are the business of what we're doing. Okay. The first question I always get when I talk to space people, especially space money people, is why the moon? They all want to look at low Earth orbit. I mean, we heard Daniel Faber a couple days ago saying that's where the market is. To me, the answer is geography. That the Earth Moon Lagrange 1 sits about 85% of the way between the Earth and the Moon. It's the gravitational middle, and it is the most efficient cislunar trajectory that funnels everything through that region. It's important to note that physics permits just exactly one location like that. It can't be duplicated. It can't be moved. As the cheesy movie from the 80s, Highlander said, there can be only one. And if the cislunar space was a game board, then EML1 is Boardwalk. Whoever holds that infrastructure collects a toll for every transit, every mission, every payload moving between the Earth and the Moon. That's not a market thesis. That's orbital mechanics, and our business mode is based on physics. What we're trying to do is change the game in space, just absolutely upend it. The business of our business is to operate the only logistics hub at the only choke point in the cislunar infrastructure. If you added every provider, every program combined going to the moon, the lunar cargo manifest is about 5 to 9 metric tons per year. That's a very fuzzy number, especially with the changes in the Artemis program recently, but it's a validated number. And the price tags there are between $500,000 and $1 million per kilo. So far, science has been the only thing that has justified that. Yes, there are some commercial providers that are trying to do stuff, but if you look at their customer's customer, it's almost always NASA trying to do science. And when we talk about large scale development, water, consumables, construction, that's all been financially excluded. So $500,000 per kilo currently. And what we're trying to do at LiftPort, our logistics hub, is to take that price wall down from $500,000 per kilo to only $5,000 per kilo. We're taking 2 zeros off the price tag. We're taking it down 2 orders of magnitude. And in our first operational year, we should be able to move about 40 tons And that's pretty close to 5 to 8 times the entire global manifest for the moon. So that's one operator in 1 year. Fast forward, our projections actually push us closer to $4.2 billion in combined revenue within the first decade of operations. We're not competing for market share. There is no market to take. There's nobody that we're going to take this away from. What we're doing is we are seeding and growing a new market by knocking down the price wall that keeps it from happening. So, who are our customer? And as Michael Mealing always says, who's our customer's customer? We refer to it as ACDC, academic, civil, defense, and commercial. And those segments make up most of the lunar actors out there. By volume, we're kind of anticipating that the civil market is our largest market. So that would be NASA, ESA, JAXA, all those folks, ISRO. And what they're going to be doing is construction feedstocks and consumables for the Artemis program. Our second biggest, probably based on revenues, it's a little bit different, but that's probably the defense sector. And that would include Space Force and DARPA trying to build space domain awareness and, in our case, minor elements of the Golden Dome program. And that's going to serve the cislunar military theater that did not exist just 5 years ago. So brand new open territory for us and for everybody, really. The commercial sector is the one that is the fuzziest. We certainly, I think everybody on this show, certainly we think that will ultimately become the biggest sector. But that really only happens at scale once the price wall comes down. So there are going to be things like lunar resource companies, ISRU operators, communications infrastructure, that sort of thing. And finally, it's a little on the fuzzy side, but the academic community, National Science Foundation, university consortiums, international research collaborations, probably a lot of NGOs in there as well. And those customers are, in a way, they are the future itself. As we train more new, younger students to move into this field, they're going to have a role to play. And what we're doing is we're building the only architecture that moves cargo at a price that lets the rest of the economy exist. I think that's really important to kind of just let that sink in. We build the system that makes all the other systems work. So why us? Why now? What's going on here? LiftPort's been working in space elevators for 25 years, lunar elevators specifically for the last 15. And a fair skeptical question to ask is, why hasn't this happened yet? And I think the answer is relatively straightforward. The surrounding economy, the industry wasn't ready. Launch costs have collapsed. Governments have reprioritized the moon. Capital has rotated towards infrastructure. And the world is finally caught up with our vision. 25 years isn't a liability, it's a moat. The failure modes, the materials, the deployment sequencing, no one starting today can replicate our experience inside of a venture timeline. And we've put hardware into the sky. In 2006, our lifter robots climbed a mile high on the tether. And in 2007, we operated a tether system for 60 days. And hardware is going up again soon this November. Our fast mover, our string satellite, Is the world's first dedicated space elevator ribbon test flight. 90% of the satellite is complete. The manifest is confirmed. Licensing is nearly done. In just 6 months, the question of is the string strong enough will have a public, hardware validated answer. Going back to the engineering, the physics of this system are gentle. On Earth, the elevator fights a full gravity, a full atmosphere, weather. On the moon, no atmosphere, no weather, and 1/6 the gravity. So because of the balance of this system, gravity doesn't shout, it whispers. And that makes the whole system work because the forces are so small. No new physics are required. And we're not doing this ourselves. We're working with a variety of artificial intelligence tools to build out our simulations, our scenario planning, and our digital twins. And what we're trying to get to is this very rigorous go or no go decision. So we're raising $20 million of $350 million just to focus on this no go or no go plan. And one of our advisors was asking the question, when they make a decision, what are you asking me to believe, and what price, what is this experiment going to cost? And that's where we are. Probably $20 million for a go or no go plan. And I came back to that advisor and said, look, we're a decacorn or nothing. If we only raise $350 million and only become a unicorn, that's only a 3x ROI. As far as I'm concerned, we've wasted that capital. So L1 infrastructure is either a 10 to $100 billion company, or it shouldn't exist. And we're building that singular infrastructure that defines the space age. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay. Let me stop that. 12 minutes and 20 seconds is what I have.
12 minutes and 20 seconds is what I have too. And that is very different from what I practiced.
Yep. Okay. Well,
I'm gonna respond to Dallas right away.
Sure.
He's like, that's not really true. There are many paths into the moon that don't go through L1. I agree with that. I was really struggling with the tool to kind of get it to say what I want, and I definitely ran out of time on that piece. So that's a legit criticism. One of the ways that I was trying to describe it was that this is an energy efficient system that L1, once you're there, makes everything else better and easier. But I just couldn't get it to say what I wanted to say. So I'll take the hit for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also appreciate this price range. 100,000 if you're going with SpaceX and Starship.
Which hasn't materialized yet.
That I was just about to say, I'm not banking on that number. I did use the 1.2 Astrobotics number, and what I had been saying was the prices between 500,000 and $1 million. And for the poetry of it, I decided we would just use the 500,000 number and as kind of a middle ground, and then by knocking 2 zeros off. So, yeah, I actually would really like to have some validation on those numbers. So appreciate that.
Okay. Let me start in. A couple of things. First, just to start with, you anticipated the question, who's your customer? Who's your customer's customer?
Mm-hmm.
Then you went near the end, you started talking about, certain things as the fuzzy side. No, there can be no fuzzy side with questions like that. You need to nail things down. because you're going to get the question. You need to nail things down. So
I'm switching to take notes here. Just give me 10 seconds here.
All right.
Because I want to capture that. Which part did you say was fuzzy?
It was kind of near the end. You used words. You used words like the fuzzy side of something, and it had. I think it had to do with your. You're talking about some of your customers' customers, and that doesn't. Those words don't engender confidence.
Okay.
And so, only share what you can nail down.
Okay.
And be pretty certain about. Recommendation. That's just a note. As far as that stuff goes. Now, I was expecting. You're doing this milestone thing. You're raising 20 million for a certain set of milestones, and it says okay, and then you have a go no go decision at the end of that milestone. Well, what if it becomes no go? What happens to the 20 million? Is it just gone?
No, actually, I was really hoping you were going to ask that question as part of this.
Well, I did. Here you go.
I think that we have a very solid what if it fails plan, because what if it fails? We have a very large database, maybe 100,000 files in a bespoke AI tool. We have a team that's really good at tackling hard problems, unknown problems, and putting their arms around it and discovering things. So I think we still are a valuable company, even if we don't get the elevator built. We still have intellectual property, we have experience, and we have data. I think that probably gives us a valuation of maybe 2 or 3x, and somebody will acquire us as an acqui-hire acquisition. Yeah. It doesn't build us an elevator, but at least we know, okay, this plan didn't work. Somebody else is likely to buy us given that history and experience.
Okay, good. Yeah. So if you have some IP and some skill sets that you can basically whore out, that would be a useful thing to have. Absolutely. So let's I want to go back to the big one, because you wanted 350 million, and at the time, so what is your valuation then? 350 million for what? If you got the whole 350 million today, what valuation are you offering on that? What's your valuation of the company? How much a percent of the company you're offering for 350 million?
So if we had the whole $350 million, I think that puts us in the decacorn level right from the start. If we were only $1 billion, that's only 3x ROI. I don't think that justifies the risk for what we're doing. I think we have to move into the tens or hundreds of billions of dollars pretty quickly to justify the capital raise in the first place. But given where we are, given our location in the solar system, having that enormously large space station, the transit system back and forth to the moon, and the station on the moon itself, that gives us, I think, easily $100 billion valuation once that structure is in place and we're operating.
Okay, if you can make it all work, yeah, absolutely, maybe.
That's based on about $4 billion in revenue by 2036.
And that's what I want to get to next. How are you making that revenue? You said, okay, we could reduce the cost of moving material to 5,000 a kilo. How are you actually physically doing that? Is it because it's not up mass, because your elevator starts at L1. Right. So the launch cost from Earth is the launch cost from Earth to your customer, no matter who does it. So where are you getting this $5,000 from?
So we're starting the meter ticking once you land at our station. Once you landed on L1, that's when the meter starts. So whatever it takes for you to get off the ground to Leo, and I think there's going to be a dedicated market that is space tugs going from Leo to L1 or Leo out. So you're going to have to pay, you as the customer are still going to have to pay those prices. But But launching from the ground to LEO is a very different price structure than launching from the ground all the way out to the moon. So the customer will still get a giant cost savings, but because they don't have to go all or nothing to the moon. So they just have to get to LEO, and then a second bus takes them from LEO to L1.
Okay.
And then we take over at that point.
To me, that's a big supposition
like
that those tugs are going to exist, because if they're only being built to service you, they're not going to start building them until they think you're actually going to succeed.
There's already 8 tug companies. 4 of them are operating now. 2 of them are publicly traded. And that's just kind of the Americas. There's another set in Europe and another set in specifically Japan. I can't think of anywhere else in Asia. So I don't think that's much of a leap. The market is there. And hell, Daniel Faber just built a $60 million business on the fuel tank connector system for that market. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's much of a push to think that there's going to be a dedicated market. So that's where our pricing comes from, is just the
it's down mass to the lunar surface.
Up and down
back up again. Yep. Okay. Joe, you have a question. I know you have a question.
Yeah. Well, when you're ready, I've got a whole list of things. But one of the things that gets me is that when you're talking about these tugs, it seems like a vertical integration market for you. So you've got the L1 point or EML1. Then you might as well just go ahead and build the tugs and just, hey, we pick you up at LEO, we take you to the station, we drop you off on the moon.
When we first priced this 15 years ago, when we first decided to move to the lunar elevator, we had an $800 million price tag, and 200 million of that was dedicated to University of Michigan's electric propulsion engine, their electric engine model, and we were going to build our own space tug. That is what our original plan was to do. But because there are so many tugs out in the world now, we just cut that completely off of our to-do list. Assuming we get as big as I hope we do, then somebody's going to be an acquisition target. But right now, we're just focusing on getting the elevator built.
Okay. It okay if I hit you with a few things?
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Questions. Okay, so I'm going to focus more on your presentation, only a little bit of the content. And first thing I want to say is we need a coffee mug with an illustration of the moon with "Gravity doesn't shout, it whispers" written on it. Okay, that is just screaming market.
That's true.
Yeah. So on your intro, here's where downside, upside. Okay, don't explain or excuse yourself ever. Get up there, just start talking. You want to grab my attention? You've got 2 seconds to do it. Your first slide, you said 873 days. It should be a countdown clock. Big bold letters
on the website.
Just scrolling down, telling you now this clock represents, and then you start talking about what it means, why this is important. Okay, that's a much more powerful lead in. That's a good hook. EML1. Never use acronyms with your audience. You don't know what they don't know. And I actually had to, I'm in this, and it's like, okay, EML1, I think he's referring to, don't let me guess. Don't ever let me guess, okay? I'm impressed with orders of magnitude savings from 500K to 5K per kilo would be absolutely stunning. If the cost is closer to 1.2 million, even better. I mean, you're talking massive change in the way things are done business-wise. So yeah, that has some huge potential. based on your 4.2 billion number, that means that you're basically pulling in about 420 to $500 million a year. All right,
We are counting on that.
That's good. Yeah, that's good revenue.
Yeah.
And also, you're creating a choke point when you have this elevator built. That is a choke point now. So you can command prestige pricing in the beginning and work it down from there. Instead of starting low, you start high. And for this $20 million round, my big question is, so on what valuation are you doing that $20 million? And Tom talked about the $350 million, but you're going for a $20 million sale. What am I getting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What am I getting for my $20 million? And I know you're going to get to a go, no go. And most companies actually never hit what they're trying to do. They're going to pivot if things go south, liquidate if things go really south. But I expect that, you'll pivot, you'll be worth the money that I've put in. But what am I getting out of it for that $20 million?
So lots of stuff there. The choke point thing, I think that is really real. I do believe that choke point is significant, and that location L1, Earth Moon Lagrange 1, is so significant that it changes everything that happens in space. The delta V, the change in velocity, which is the kind of, let's just say, simplify it and say it's the fuel to get from where you are to where you want to go, is so low that it is cheaper to go from Leo all the way out to L1 and back to Leo than it is to go from one spot of Leo to another. It is crazy how low the economics, the economics of fuel are when you include the L point into that.
Okay.
Okay. I want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you're ready, I want to hit something. I think.
Sure. We got
Dallas is asking a lot of.
Questions. Dallas is going.
I want to go to those.
I love
now.
all these questions.
You may have to read them later. Is someone listening here? Because I need to ask this. Who's going to let you set up shop in L1?
Yeah.
How much of your $350 million budget are you carving out to have to deal with lawfare on a global scale?
100% good question. I told the attorney that we're pondering hiring that we are budgeting 10 to $15 million just in legal. I don't think there is currently anyone that can stop us, in the same way that there's no authority that can grant us authority for that location. There's no one with authority that can stop us. And I hate to say it, but I think whomever gets there first wins, and we want to get there first.
Okay, then as a corollary, L1 itself, even if you get there and set up shop, and this is from the realm of physics, how big is L1? What kind of a volume of a gravity matching bubble are you looking at? Is it only 100 yards in diameter, or is it miles and miles? That gives me the key question.
The answer is actually both, where you have to measure from the center of the moon to the center of mass of the Earth to the center of mass of the moon, draw a straight line between those two spots, and you can figure the L1 point down to the square centimeter. Like, you can do it mathematically and say, this is the L point, and it moves a little bit based on the moon's perturbations.
Right.
But the effects of such low gravity can extend out for hundreds of kilometers.
Okay.
So
that's what I was getting.
You can get a pretty big piece of real estate if you manage it right.
It could ultimately be kind of a crowded sky in there. They may be working, in conjunction with you on other things where the elevator helps them, or they may be working on other things entirely, and you just happen to be a neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're going to have neighbors.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to be an unfriendly neighbor and try to suck up as much of that real estate as I can. That is the honest truth. But yeah, there's other stuff out there at L1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
Well,
great
there's a lot of
presentation.
stuff.
Thank you.
Well, Dallas has put out a lot of stuff on this. I wish we had the time to actually.
I
through
love Dallas. Dallas, you and I
Okay.
should talk directly. I would appreciate that. I'm going to capture your comments and critiques because they're very
because they're
important
very
to me.
important. But time does not allow us to
Yeah.
do that now. But I thought it was a real good first effort. There's a few little minor gaps here and there that
Mhm.
need to be taken care of, and just to make sure you get those numbers right, and really do a slide showing this is how we make the numbers and make it very, very clear to
Okay.
any investor who's looking at it. That would be a big helpful point.
Yeah. 2 thumbs way
And a
up.
couple of
Doing this
slides
is scary.
with stuff in it. But otherwise, good, man. Very
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. I appreciate your critiques, both of them, both of y'all, and of course Dallas. Yeah, we want to get this right. All of us, we want to get this right. So thank you.
Absolutely. Because I don't know those answers, so it's up to you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, thank you so much. This is great, and I hope this is the harbinger of things to come. We'll get to do something like this again with other people someday. It was a good first try to see how we could do. There's room for improvement in me as well. So there we go. There's always things to fix. So Michael, Joe Luttrell, thank you so much for being a part of this and helping out.
Anytime.
Appreciate it so much. Okay. And of course, Sean in the background, always happy for him. On Monday, our guest will be, this is going to be interesting. Our guest will be investor and CEO Ron Weiner of the Venture Mechanics Startup Launchpad Accelerator.
Cool.
This is going to be a gas to see how he does stuff. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that too. So for Joe, for Michael, for Sean Key, I remain Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.